Marvel's Avengers, the game everyone knows and, well, apparently hates.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
5 years ago, this game was released and, well, let's just say this game had so much potential. In this video, we're going to discuss the game on its 5-year anniversary and also just talk about its ups and downs and also show a bit of gameplay. So let's dive on into this crazy game. Starting with some brief history of the game. The game was released exactly 5 years ago on September 4th, 2020. Well, unless you got the deluxe edition, you actually got to play the game on September 1st. This game was one of the most anticipated games coming out at the time because we haven't really gotten a AAA Avengers game. On January 26, 2017, Marvel Entertainment posted the Avengers Project announcement trailer, which was the first time we ever got news of this game that was being made. Essentially, this project was supposed to be a multi-year, multi-game partnership and an original story with Square Enix. The game would have been then developed by Crystal Dynamics, which everyone would know them by their Tomb Raider games. This announcement got so many people hyped, including myself, to finally get a AAA Avengers game similar to the Batman Arkham games. Or so we really thought. On June 10th, 2019, rolls around and Marvel's Avengers posts its E3 trailer, showing off the game for the very first time, and well, let's just say people thought these were their, quote, stunt doubles. Cap looked weird, Thor's hair didn't look good, and well, Black Widow kind of looked like Lord Farquaad from Shrek. Let's just say the game got very mixed reactions from the first official trailer. A few months go by and then release a new trailer fixing some of the issues like Widow's face, and for the first time showing actual gameplay of the very first mission called A-Day, and a lot of people started to get hyped again because it was actually kind of looked good. Also, a few months before the release of this game, PlayStation actually announced that Spider-Man will be joining the roster of characters, but unfortunately as an exclusive to PS4 and PS5 at some point. September 4th, 2020, finally rolls out. Marvel's Avengers has finally released to the world, and it's a frickin' mess. Unfortunately, the game was riddled with bugs for most people, like going into the map, some skins looking weird, and so on. After every patch there would be fixes and some new problems, but for the first few months it was actually somewhat playable, for the most part. The game would then go on to get mixed reviews as people actually enjoy the reassemble story campaign, or like the main story, being their strongest part of the game, as well as actually the combat, which I enjoy the combat actually as well, which just made every character feel different and actually made them feel like it was their own standalone game. One of the main problems were the bugs, obviously, but also the multiplayer side of things. Missions just felt repetitive, which, to be honest, what game doesn't feel like that? Like, what game, they all feel repetitive, I feel like, at one point, to be honest. But also the enemies just weren't a real challenge, and, like, just the reuse of, like, the same two boss fights, like, Taskmaster and Abomination, just constantly the same for the first few months, really. Now moving on to the really DLC that the game actually got through its lifetime, was the very first one actually, was on December 9th, 2020, which they announced would be actually free and would come with new story missions. This was just for every new DLC, new characters, new missions, etc. So that was, a lot of people got hyped for that, really, including myself, because we didn't have to really pay for anything else besides, skins in the marketplace. But I'll go on with that later. The first character would actually be Kate Bishop's Hawkeye, which many fans would be actually confused as to why, she was first, really, since Clint Barton's Hawkeye was, like, nowhere in the main story, besides, like, I think, like, one picture in the main story that you can find. But, like, also, they just did release a small teaser of him before the release of the game, so people were like, where is he? Like, why is Kate Bishop here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was very weird when it came out. But Kate Bishop was released on that day, and she was, obviously free, bringing new story operations, or story missions. But they were called operations at the time, because hers was named Taking Aim. It was the first DLC that actually was somewhat well received, with her unique gameplay, but also adding about 2 to 3 hours of new story missions, but obviously some more bugs as per usual. Then moving on to March 18th, 2021, which was, I believe, the start of Avengers peak year, which was 2021, because like I said, in March of the 18th, Clint Barnes' Hawkeye was actually finally released with his newest operation called Future Imperfect, which actually continued the story from Kate Bishop's DLC, acting as like a part 2. It also added, his unique gameplay, which there were some similar things, but they were actually quite different since Kate had the teleporting and he kind of had more grounded abilities. So somewhat actually different. And also, added another about 2 to 3 hours of story missions and just a whole new biome, which was, I believe, the Wastelands or Future Wastelands. But also having Maestro as a new boss fight, which then you can, in multiplayer, you can just constantly keep fighting to get some more gear sets. On August 17th, 2021, they would actually release their very first ever expansion to the game known as War for Wakanda. This DLC would feature about 4 to 5 hours of new story missions for the new hero, obviously Black Panther, as well as adding a whole new biome, enemies, 2 new bosses as of Crossbones and Claw, a whole new outpost, and so much more. Obviously, it also reworked a bunch of, in-game systems as well. Now, I would just like to think that this was, honestly their peak. Like I said, 2021 was their peak of the game, because this was, one of the best DLCs they really added to the game, because, like I said, it added Wakanda, just really cool story with him and stuff, and, they just did a good job with Black Panther, because his gameplay is super fun to play as, so if you get a chance, definitely play as him. He is so much fun to play as. Now moving on to the final DLC we got of 2021, which came out on November 30th, 2021, like I said, which was actually Spider-Man. He would actually finally release, unfortunately, on the PS5 and PS4 players, while everyone actually got a whole new raid mission, which included Claw from the Black Panther DLC, but it was more of like a raid type thing, so you can get more really high gear sets and just, constantly play that with a bunch of friends, and it required a lot of teamwork, actually. Like I said, to complete. But Spider-Man was the first time that he actually didn't come with any unique, really story missions, rather like a bunch of audio files instead. His combat actually did feel pretty nice. I actually use him time to time again. When I'm just bored even, because he's actually pretty nice. Like I said, the combat in this game is top tier. Which, obviously, when he came released, a lot of people wanted to compare him to Insomniac's Spider-Man, which, to be honest, I actually like his iconic suit, or his default suit that you get in the game, much better than the advanced suit, since I don't like the orange, and you can all hate me for that. I don't really care, to be honest, but I like the iconic suit. Overall, 2021 was actually one of the best years for the game, bringing 3 new heroes, missions, enemies, bosses, even more events like the Corrupted Vibranium event and Red Room event, which would constantly, recycle the same events every about 2 weeks, including even now in 2025. So it'll just keep giving you high gear power sets to just constantly keep leveling up your heroes. So which is very nice, because some of these events are really easy and just actually some are pretty fun to get as well. But moving on to 2022, they haven't really released a whole lot besides finally giving us a comic accurate skins instead of recolors and actually more MCU skins. But 2022 was unfortunately not it. On June 28th, 2022, Jane Foster's Thor would actually be released, and it was a very mixed bag, because one, she was basically exactly the same as Thor, but very few differences, one being her ultimate and a few of her moves here and there. But the problem was, she was actually never to be released, and was last minute addition. But for Xbox and PC players, this was the first new hero since Black Panther, almost a year later, which sucked. And then on November 29th, 2022, the final hero unfortunately would be released, the Winter Soldier. As basically the final hero, he was actually not that bad, to me at least. He used most of the same basic combos as Captain America, but had a few new heroics, ranged and heavy attacks, so he did feel somewhat unique. But he did actually have a few in-game cutscenes, but no cinematic ones, and actually would also bring the final story mission, Cloning Labs, which would be the only way to get the highest gear sets in the game at the time. On March 31st, 2023, the game came out with its final patch named Patch 2.8, which I actually made a video on what was all the changes, and so definitely check that out. But on September 30th, 2023, the game was officially shut down, meaning no new heroes, updates, bug fixes, and Spider-Man actually was staying as a PlayStation exclusive, which really sucked. But the game will still be played in single player and online multiplayer, but was actually delisted on digital storefronts. So the only way to get it now is to really just get a physical copy of the game, which you can find it for like probably less than $10, $5 even, you know, if there's some type of sale. Get it at this point. It's not that bad of a game than people would say it is, because one, they gave you all the skins for free, and like the game actually plays way better now. Actually, there's like no bugs as much anymore, so like it's playable surprisingly. Since the game was actually just shut down, there was a bunch of leaked characters coming out, like She-Hulk, War Machine, and just more would actually never be released, unfortunately. But concept art was actually just found recently for She-Hulk, which showed a few of her skins and just what she would have looked like in general. So it would have been actually very fun to play as her as well. But then War Machine side of thing, which I think he was originally supposed to be the next character before Jane Foster, actually, but I don't know what happened. He got delayed or something. But his default or iconic suit was actually repurposed as an Iron Man skin in the game that is currently in game now. But unfortunately, the only way to get that, you had to get at least one achievement before the game shut down. So, and many more concept arts were found, like Thor's axe / Stormbreaker that they were working on, and just a bunch of more comic skins and MCU skins as well. Just sadly, we would never get to see these come to life. And now, I know it went on talking for like ever, so how about we actually show some gameplay now? Alright, we're going to start this quick mission with Spider-Man, or playing as Spider-Man. Just show you kind of just his gameplay, really. If I went through every single character, this video would have been so long. So we're just going to do a mission with him, but on the channel I do have plenty of skin showcases of each character if you want to see some gameplay on that. But if you guys do want to see, let me know. I'll do like in-depth, combat abilities and traversal, etc. in general for each character. If you definitely want that, let me know in the comments down below, because like I said, the combat in this game is so very nice. And there's Spider-Man coming in right there. Alright, I have it in this iconic outfit because like I said, I like it. I don't care, I like it, so leave me alone. Alright, I like it more than Soundmax. Leave me alone. But his web swinging does look a little funky. Some of the animations are a little funky as well. They're not going to be as good as, Insomniac's, but given what this game was, I think he is one of the faster characters traversal-wise besides the flyers. So if you really get the hang of his web swinging, because I think if you press the jump button, I think at the end of his swing, you kind of get that little, lunge forward, really. I love zipping around to each enemy, as you can tell. Ooh. And then the takedowns are awesome. Because the nice thing is, they gave you every single skin for free. Takedown, emote, etc. I think nameplates as well. They gave you literally everything for free when the game shut down, so it's very nice to see that. Okay, I don't know why he was just shooting the ground there. But yeah, it was really nice to see that. Come on. Oh, there's one more left. And it's a takedown. Spider-Man does have some nice ones, especially since I think he's the only character that has air takedowns. He has about 2 of those, which was very nice to see. Unfortunately, he's the only ones that can do that, which I'm like, why can't at least they give every other character one? But what can you do? Also, I like that little move he does. If you're noticing the purple effect on him on my webs with him, is the vibranium effect. There's a bunch of status effects in this game that will, do more damage to the enemies for you and everything. There was like fire, ice, vibranium, and etc. There's a bunch. I think there's a shrinking one actually for Pym. Yes, Hank Pym is in the game, and I do believe they mentioned Scott at one point. Well, there's a bunch of little Easter eggs actually.
Neutralize the watchdog unit.
Do some little combos here and there. Like I said, I like that one so much. But the nice thing with Spider-Man, though, he does have his own status effect, the web effect, where, as you can see, I webbed him up, and I could actually, or I was able to, I think, spin him around and throw him, really. which was nice. These guys are shielded, so I hate that so much. Come here, boy. I love the takedowns. There's a bunch of nice ones I really like. I think the one I like for Cap is like there's like a wrestling. Is it the wrestling one or something? I don't remember. They had some wrestling inspired ones. But I know the Cap one I liked a lot was where he just grabs the shield and just freaking hits the guy in the head and then in the back. It was kind of funny. Come on, me and Black Widow are teaming up to take this guy down. Take this guy. Alright, perfect. A little pose right there. And like I said, the emotes, this is me emoting with Spider-Man real quick. The unfortunate thing is there's no emote wheel, so you have to like go into his character menu and select it. As you can see right here, you like go to emotes and actually select it. See a bunch of his gear sets. I have him as max level, which is very nice, and this is the takedowns as well. Alright, let's go quickly finish this mission. I don't want this video to be too long, or, you know, this part of the video too long. Like I said, you can see him going, and each character also on the bottom right has 3 special attacks. The left one, which I'm about to pop now, is Spider-Man's little healing drone and webbing drone, actually. That's his support heroic. Everyone has one. If I go do his right one, it does a web bomb. That is his assault heroic. Actually, it gives me a free takedown. Ooh, I think everyone's invisible now next to Black Widow. Can I do the takedown on you? Oh. Let me see if I can get this guy. Whoop. Ow, okay, or just don't let me do that. Alright, this guy. Hoo-yah! Little bomb, and his ultimate is very, very nice because it does a wrecking ball. And then for me, I put it so he gets like little gloves and everything. Can I get you? I want to get this guy. Yes, okay, now I'm doing air takedown. But yeah, and then essentially it gives me like little extra damage because I have like little gloves, and every you know, enemy defeated actually keeps the timer going up, which is very nice. So I can keep having that extra damage as long as I can, really, which is very, very nice to see. Just go over here real quick. But, yeah, this is kind of like just brief gameplay of what the game was. Honestly, not that bad. Like I said, the combat feels very nice. If you guys want to see more in-depth one, leave a comment down below. I'll do every single character, like, in-depth, because there's a bunch I didn't focus on here, where there's Spider-Man 1. I think he can go underneath the guy and try to just web him from behind and just make him smack the ground or something. Like I said, there really, really is a bunch you can do in this game for combat-wise, and you can actually select really, let's see if I can go real quick here. The skills, you can have them select like different ones. You know, see, reduce ammo. I think this one, which is his ultimate. See, this one is the web brawler, but then there's one where it just does the spider signal instead. Each character you have will be different or compared to another player's. So, which is very nice to see. And you can actually play with others still, which is very, very nice. But this is just some brief gameplay, really, of, you know, the game itself. But like I said, if you see more in-depth, definitely let me know. So, happy 5-year anniversary to Marvel's Avengers. You were a flawed game, but had so much potential. To be honest, I enjoyed my time with you. It helped the channel grow to where it is today, and thank all of you for joining in on this journey with me, and I can't thank you guys enough for it. So seriously, thank you guys so much. With that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and definitely check out my video on patch 2.8 update to get all that info, what came with the final update to the game, and kind of, you know, give you what idea really is at the state of the game now. Bye-bye, everybody.